Good morning. It is Tuesday, May 11th, 2021, and let it be known, what a great show we have for you this morning. The incomparable Loni Love joins us. But first, let us bring on our president and CEO, Dr. Ben Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacy. Broadcasting live from the NMPA's brand new digital video studio at the national headquarters of the NMPA, the National Newspaper Publishers Alliance, National Newspaper Publishers Association. And we're very glad to be with you. We got a great show. We're ready to get right into the headlines. Let it be known.
Absolutely, Dr. Chavis. On Sunday, May 16th, 2021, at 9 p.m. Eastern, Kathy Hughes' cable TV networks, TV One and its sister network, Clio TV, will air the network's annual Urban One Honors, celebrating the 2-hour program will celebrate all African-American women. The show is themed Women Leading the Change. The program will honor 6 Black female leaders in business, politics, journalism, and humanitarian efforts, including Atlanta's political powerhouse and Nobel Peace Prize nominee Stacey Abrams. Looking forward to that. The program will also honor the 4 African-American Greek sororities, the Alpha Kappa Alpha Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, Sigma Gamma Rho Incorporated, and Zeta Phi Beta Incorporated. So Sunday, May 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern, Kathy Hughes, a big celebration of Black women. And Dr. Chavis, I know that you'll be watching.
Oh, absolutely. And we salute Urban One, which represents Radio One, TV One, and Interactive One. Kathy Hughes and her son, Alfred Liggins, they have done outstanding work in the communications field and all the media forms. And of course, now the Howard University School of Communications is named the Kathy Hughes School of Communications at my alma mater, Howard University.
Yeah, absolutely. And a major announcement this morning. But before we get to that, let us look at this video from the PGA Tour.
Kevin Hall, playing on the Charlie Sifford Memorial Exemption, played at Ohio State, won the Big Ten by double digits, a couple wins on the mini tours. A deaf player, amazing feat to be out here.
Kevin, what was your reaction when you found out that you would receive the exemption into this tournament?
I almost choked up. I needed to drink some water. I was so surprised.
You put it like me.
Kevin Hall.
Oh, a nice fadey swing that, wasn't it? Hold the touch face square to open through impact. Perfect.
I picked him up from the babysitter on Friday evening, and I brought him home, and for the first time ever, Kevin said, I want to lay down. So I immediately knew something was not right.
I figured he wasn't hearing me because I could tell by the way he would react. So he was ahead of me, and I had this balloon, and I popped it. And he didn't respond.
Nothing.
I knew then that he needed to hear.
We had to become very creative in teaching him to get him interested, and once he caught on to what was going on, there was no stopping Kevin.
It's 100. So great to have him in the tournament. He's played a couple of tournaments in the past, the Web.com, trying to find a way to make it out here one day.
An amazing story, Kevin Hall. It also is an example of where the PGA Tour is headed. With that said, yesterday was National Golf Day, and yesterday they celebrated diversity, equity, and inclusion. It was a prime focus of the 2021 National Golf Day event. We Are Golf, a coalition of the game's leading associations and industry partners, usually host the event in DC with industry leaders and government officials. But because of the pandemic, this year's event occurred virtually. And while National Golf Day celebrates the sport's more than $84 billion annual charitable impact and its environmental and fitness benefits, the event started with a panel discussion yesterday on diversity and inclusion, and the NNPA was there. Neera Shetty, the senior vice president and deputy general counsel at the PGA Tour, mentioned that we are not that far removed from when there was a Caucasian-only rule in the PGA bylaws. She noted that those rules existed from 1939 to 1961. But the most important thing that Neera Shetty announced yesterday was that the PGA Tour is in an agreement with the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the Black Press of America, on a long-term partnership to help these diversity and inclusion efforts. And so we should treat a whole lot more golfers like Mr. Hall and others of color who are now able to have a better chance of breaking into the sport. Dr. Chavis, it's a historic agreement between the PGA Tour and the Black Press of America.
Absolutely. And on behalf of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, we thank the PGA Tour for establishing a partnership with us. We're going to work together on diversity issues, on equity issues, and on inclusion issues. I think that the sport is reaching out, and we're going to also reach out. They work very closely with a number of our HBCUs, historically black colleges, universities. And so this is what the Black Press does. We form these alliances, these partnerships with major entities in our society. And I just want to say on behalf of all of the 230 African-American owned newspapers and other media companies that are members of the NNPA, Karen Carter Richards is our distinguished chair, that we are very grateful to the PGA Tour for this partnership, one of the most important partnerships of the NNPA.
Well, Dr. Chavis, she is funny, she's brilliant, she's talented, she's everything all rolled into one, Dr. Chavis. It is a pleasure and a privilege to welcome the one and only Loni Love. Good morning, Loni Love.
Good morning, Mr. Brown. Dr. Chavis, it's so good to see you, gentlemen. How are you?
Doing fine, Sister Loni, and thank you for your leadership. I know when you appear, when you represent, it lifts up our people in a very positive way. And of course, we live in amidst this pandemic and so much uncertainties. But the thing I always admire about you, Sister Loni, is that you bring a perspective that people can not only hear, but that people can feel. So thank you for your leadership.
Thank you. I try to, you got to understand, Dr. Chavis, it's people like you and your leadership that I have followed, for a long time. And so when I had the opportunity, especially to be on a national platform, I try to use it wisely. I've had some bumps and bruises along the way, but, now I'm okay.
Well, we welcome you to the Black Press of America.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and Loni, so let's jump into this because you got something special coming up at Prairie View A&M. Talk about that a little bit. What's happening?
Well, as everyone knows, that we at Prairie View, I'm a proud alumni of Prairie View A&M University. I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering. I always shout out my school. I always shout out HBCUs. I'm a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta. And on this Friday, I am going to give the actual ceremony speech for the 2020 graduates that did not get to have a graduation at Prairie View this Friday. And then we also have the 2021 ceremony that will be on Sunday. But I am just so excited to go back to Prairie View and give those students the commencement speech that they didn't have last year. So I'm gonna be ready. I'm writing it right now. Dr. Chavis, you got any pointers for a commencement speech?
Oh, absolutely. Just
I'm gonna stay sober until after.
But I want you to speak from the heart.
Okay.
I think a lot of times our graduates, it's one thing to get a piece of paper, to get that document, that diploma, but the commencement is not the end; it's the beginning.
That's right.
Of that journey. So I would kind of encourage them to be true to themselves, and don't let the world break their spirit. One thing about going to the HBCU, as you know, you get a certain fortitude. But when you leave the HBCU, you got to take that strength into the world, because there will be strong winds out there blowing. But one of the great things about graduating from an HBCU, it gives you that stamina. It anchors you. So when those winds blow, you'll be able to keep standing.
That's right. Well, I'm going to use all of that. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to take this piece of tape and just and I'm done. So thank you, Dr. Chavis. Thank you. But yes, very excited.
And Loni, don't be shy about having a drink beforehand. Just go ahead.
Wild turkey, just a shot. What?
Just a shot. There you go. So, and you mentioned proud member of Theta, Delta Sigma Theta. They are, of all of the Divine Nines, they really have made their mark. We're at 100 plus years, 110 years or some sort,
Yes.
Loni?
Yes, that picture that you see that's my line. We had a line of 45, 34 of them all came to the Real. And, of course, it was like from the Real to Hollywood. And we actually, they came in, they sat in on the show. We gave them a Hollywood tour. I had a soiree for them. And this is the thing about sisterhood. The reason why you join a sorority is for the sisterhood, and it lasts a lifetime. We not like some sororities. The Black sororities, we there all the time. There's our girl Angela Bassett, Sora Bassett, Rachel Lindsay, everybody that comes on the show. And if you're part of the Divine Nine, you're my brother and you're my sister as well. But we want to show the excellence in being in a sorority, especially the Black Greeks. It's a long history. And so I'm proud to be a member. I'm proud when people come on, they shout out their sorority or their fraternity. And it's just been a great thing for me. And I'm glad that I'm able to, have a national audience, that I'm able to show my, the beauty in sorority and Greek life.
Yeah, and Loni, I know you draw inspiration from Prairie View, and I know you draw inspiration from the Deltas. The Deltas, of course, we know they began their history in the Women's Suffrage March. They really took your founders took some real chances, risk to go to that suffrage march. But where else do you gain your inspiration? Because you're like we said at the top, very, very hilarious comedian. But then you sit on the Real, and when the topics they get real, and you handle that like you handle the stand-up stage. So where do you get your inspiration?
Well, the thing about my type of comedy is observational. So I've always been doing that. I've been doing comedy for over 15 years. And before I was struggling on the road, but the road actually made me travel around this country and realize what people actually laughed at. And that prepared me for the job that I have now on television on the Real, because sometimes you need to add levity in a conversation, even if the conversation is serious, or sometimes you need to pull back and you'd be able to, we call it reading the room in comedy, if something isn't going correct. So that's what I try to do. And that's what I bring to the show. I bring levity, but also of these past couple of seasons been very serious issues, and you have to bring representation and your point of view from a Black perspective. I was raised in Detroit in the 80s during the crack era. So everything that I talk about, throughout my time growing up, I can put it into the topics that we talk about on the Real. And that's what makes it so relatable. And I think, when we started to develop the Real, we wanted a show with all women of color. We thought that it was important because when you add a Caucasian to the table, it changes the conversation. And you have other shows that have Caucasians on their table. We wanted a table with just all women of color so that we could have a focus of the issues that's happening with those different cultures, but also to show that we're just like, the majority. We feel, we love, we laugh, we hurt. It's not, and so I'm very proud of The Real. I'm very proud that we were given a chance to be on a network to even do it, because they don't do shows like this. Once The Real goes, it's going to be a long time before you see a show like this that's just all women of color. So I'm very proud of it, and we keep trying to improve it every season.
Yeah, and you do a great job of that. That's for sure. We especially, again, we appreciate you joining the Black Press here today, because we appreciate your talent so much. Tell us too, you wrote a book, and the book I tried to change so you don't have to. Before I ask you any more questions about that book, the title, explain that to everyone.
Well, for a long time when I was trying to break into Hollywood, before Hollywood, I was an engineer, and I thought that I had to be a certain type of way. Imagine being a 22-year-old Black woman, fresh from an HBCU, and they put you into a group of 50-plus-year-old white males, and they're all engineers. And so my whole life has been about, I can't be like him. So I have to be me. But society at that point, because you got to remember that was like in the 90s, I was like an invisible person. So I thought, well, maybe if I act like a man, maybe if I go to Big Bear camping like they do, like they talk about on Monday mornings, maybe that'll make me something. No. I had to learn to be myself. So what this book is a series of stories that are very funny. Some are deep. Some are very inspirational of things that I tried to do. So at this one point, I tried to be the man. Then the next point, I tried to be, fake it till I could make it. I tried to act like I was rich and I was really broke. Then I was going to be the rapper. MC Wack was my name, Finally, I really became myself, which was the comic who wants to show love, who wants to be encouraging, who wants to be that hopeful person. And that's where I got the title. So, it's like the whole thing that I stress, if you don't learn anything today, is learn who you are and be proud of who you are. Don't try to change for someone else. Understand who you are and live with that.
Yeah, and Loni, there's a lot. You said a mouthful and then some. That confidence that you exude now, apparently it wasn't always there.
No.
You went through these different changes. What was it that that made you look in the mirror and say, you know what, Loni Love, I'm good enough as who I am right now?
I think that when you got to remember 10 years ago, then Dr. Chavis, you remember when we looked on television, we didn't have people that looked like us the way we have. People don't understand the movements that have been made because of people like Dr. Chavis, because of like you, Mr. Brown, because of us we're pushing. We have made a lot of headway just with the fact of putting people on that kind of represent us. But also, if they don't represent us, at least they talk about our issues that affect us, and then we make change based on that. So, you have to understand that when I was growing up, I didn't have people that looked like me. You maybe had Nell Carter, from Give Me a Break. You had Florida Evans, that's like in the 70s. But then in the 80s, we didn't have a lot of, and so it was just this. That was the look that you had to have. And if you didn't, you were not worthy. So can you imagine being this young girl growing up thinking, well, I will never look like that, so I'll never be worthy. And so, I had to deal with all of that. And a lot of us had to deal with that. And that's the reason why I stay on TV. I look my best. I look good. But if I'm not a size 0, I'm not going to be understand who you are as a person, and you do what you want to do, you study, you go to school, you find you some friends, you find you a decent dude, and you can build yourself a life, but you're not going to look like, for lack of a better term, Becky over there. You're not going to look like her, and it's okay. We have our Beckys, but we also have our Keishas, and ain't nothing wrong with Keisha.
Dr. Chavis.
Well, listen, I'm gonna have to ordain Sister Loni because she's preaching, and it's the gospel of loving self, doing for self, being proud of self. And over Sister Loni, this is the 194th year of the Black Press of America. We've been publishing since 1827. Freedom's Journal was first published in New York, and I'm so proud of the Black Press. We have not missed a week, a day, an hour, representing the culture, the aspiration, striving for excellence. And what you just said, Black people, we come in all shapes, all sizes, all colors. You're a STEM graduate. The myth was that particularly Black women couldn't do STEM subjects. You shattered all of that. And I think that one of the things our young people need today, Sister Loni, is encouragement. There's so much that discourage, and particularly for Black women. I'm so proud of what Black women did in Georgia and all the places that got up that vote to change the Congress of the United States. Can you just speak about how important the Real show has been to help Black women lift their aspirations?
Definitely. Like I said, when the Real started, it started as for women of color, but it was also to help amplify women of color's voices. So when we first got on, we were the first talk show to be invited to the White House by our first Black First Lady. See, this is why we say connection is important. Representation is important. That that we were the first talk show ever to be invited to the White House, and that helped to amplify the fact that we were going to be a place for women of color, especially Black women, to come and promote. We have we're the only show that will have Oprah Winfrey's shows on. You don't see them on nowhere else. You don't see Tyler Perry's the people that star in Tyler Perry's shows. They come on our show. This is why the show was made, because we want to be the people that when nobody else. Now we'll take the everybody else. We will. But we are specifically for the people of color. Right now, we're doing something for AAPI month. This is AAPI month. You don't have any other show that's recognizing AAPI month and what is happening in the Asian community. So this is what our show is really about. And that's why I'm proud of the show, because we have to make sure that we're inspiration to show other people. But it's important for our little girls and for our little boys. How do little boys treat little girls? We talk about that on our show. You don't hear any other show. They don't care how Black women being treated. We do on our show. And it's not to put other shows down. I'm just telling people this is the importance of what the Real was set up for, why we made it. It wasn't made to be a show that we just chatty and arguing with each other. That's not the purpose of the Real. Now they may have tried it early on, but we found that we want to be a show about love, a show about sisterhood, a show that will talk about the issues that's happening. And we keep learning every season, but it's about promoting the right people, having the right people on. We were one of the only shows that had Kamala Harris before she became vice president. That was important for little girls to see that we have the first Black and South Asian vice president on, and that you can make it. We've had, Stacey Abrams, but to be able to talk about what Stacey Abrams did and break it down so people could understand it. because a lot of shows don't want to deal with that. We deal with it, and we have levity, we have fun, we do the fashions, we do all of that too. But it's just those little nuggets of learning. That's why I'm proud that we have The Real.
Well, we only have a couple of minutes left with Loni Love, but I do want to ask you certainly about True Love Incorporated, your production company. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, True Love Incorporated, I just feel that, you know, when you're trying to produce something, if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself. So I started my production company, True Love Incorporated. I'm working with other studios, the main studios, to try to put out product that is going to be inspiring, entertaining, and informative to us. And one of the things that I'm working with also is the Black Music Honors. I think that, you know, June is Black History Month. Black Music Month is in June. It's important for us to keep recognizing the contributions that our Black music has made to this country and to this world. I'm honored to be the host. It'll be June the 5th on Bounce Television. And this is just one of the things that my production company, we work with other production companies and with the studios to present things. And it's just important for us to, you know, make sure that if we're going to do these projects, it has to be done right. So we have to start up the production companies. And so I'm just one of many Black creatives that are starting it. And I'm just happy to do it.
Well, we are definitely happy for you. Dr. Chavis, last thoughts to Loni Love before she has to depart?
Well, listen, Loni Love, I wanted to tell you that I'm so proud that our entire executive committee of the NMP are all Black women. The chair of our board, Colonel Carl Richards. The first vice chair is Janet Ware. The second vice chair is Fran Farrell.
Yeah.
The national secretary is Jackie Hamilton, and our national treasurer is Brenda Andrews. 5 dynamic African American women owners, publishers of the Black press. And I just want to say to you, your words are not only to Black women, but to Black men, the whole Black family. Because when we lift the woman up, the whole family is lifted up, the whole community is lifted up. And once again, what you do in your business, in your television, or everything that you do is really, I think, opening doors for another generation of entertainers to follow in your path. So may God continue to bless you with success.
Thank you. And I just want to thank the NNPA, because what you guys do is so important, what you represent. Without the press, we cannot make change. But also without the Black press, we certainly cannot make change. The things that are happening, you know, I know you guys are working hard. I know it's a sacrifice, but from the bottom of my heart and from this country, we thank you for all of your work.
Thank you so much, Loni Love, for those kind words, those great words. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us, Loni Love. Wonderful, wonderful conversation. We really do appreciate her taking out the time to stop in with the Black press. Dr. Chavis, it was really a, I'd say, enthusiastic discussion with Loni Love.
Not only enthusiastic, you're right, but I think that her words will have longevity in the marketplace. You notice sisters like Loni Love now changing not only Hollywood, but also Madison Avenue in the advertising world, the images, how we project the beauty, the transcendent beauty of Black people. I think that this is a great show this morning. And the words of Loni Love will last with us in the Black press for many years to come.
Absolutely. And don't forget, it's not too early to register for the National Newspaper Publishers Association's annual summer convention, which is held virtually this year, and it's free at www.virtualnnpa2021.com. That's where you'll be able to see so many wonderful things about the Black press. Remember, the Black press was founded 194 years ago, before the end of slavery. And I always love to quote our founders who said, "We wish to plead our own cause for too long, others have spoken for us. For 194 years, we have been the trusted voice of the Black community, not just here in America, but throughout the world. So register virtualNMPA2021.com and let it be known, in the words of the great Thurgood Marshall, in recognizing the humanity of our fellow beings, we pay ourselves the highest tribute. We will see you tomorrow.